doesn't matter what percentage of you is African or what part of Africa, there's always this connection to Africa. And I think that's the way that you are made to feel, you know, whether you are here and have that heritage or you are in Africa.
Out of 92 managers in the English Premier League, only 2 are black, Asian and minority ethnic. Africa's very own Chris Hughton is one of the 2, and in this week's episode of Fueled by Faith, we caught up with him. Chris Hughton qualified to play for the Republic of Ireland as the son of an Irish mother and a Ghanaian father, becoming the first black player to represent the country, and was awarded 53 caps for Ireland from 1979 to 1991.
My certainly football background was a little bit different to most. My first recollection would be as probably a 9-10 year old at junior school and representing the borough that I was brought up in, and I think possibly the first player from my school to do so. I'm not sure if that's a complete fact, but so that was probably my first recollection. I was scouted to go to Tottenham Hotspur as a 13 year old, and in them days that was the age. You know, these days now of course clubs are picking up players at 6-7 years of age, but my background was a little bit different. I stayed at Tottenham from 13 to 16, school leaving age, and that's the age when most players will then sign apprenticeship forms. At that stage they felt I was good, but maybe I still needed to develop, so they didn't offer me apprenticeship forms. So I then embarked on an engineering apprenticeship, which I'd done for 4 years. Halfway through that I was offered the opportunity to sign professional, but I knew I had still 2 more years to finish my engineering apprenticeship, which I decided to do. And at 20 years of age I signed full-time professional, and fortunately for me I got into the first team at Tottenham straight away. I decided probably about 28 years of age when I was at Tottenham that I wanted to stay in the game, and I wanted to stay in the game in a coaching capacity. But you've got to get that opportunity. I went away from Tottenham. I played 1.5 years at West Ham and then 1 year at Brentford, and when I retired I was fortunate enough that Ozzy Ardiles had got the job as Tottenham manager, and he took me back as reserve team coach, and that was the break that I needed.
Hughton's inaugural managerial position was at Newcastle United, where he guided the club to the Barclays Premier League. Chris shares his views on his connection with the continent and the rise of African players in the Premier League.
There is no doubt that there are differences, cultural differences between, of course, playing in Africa and of course playing here in England. Certainly if a player comes here, you know, directly from Africa, then it is of course our responsibility to try and bridge them gaps. What we have found is that most players have used that stepping stone of going to France, to Belgium in particular, and I think us here in the UK, whether that's at Premier League or whether that's at Championship level, I think have benefited from that.
On the 31st of December 2014, Chris Hughton was announced as the man in charge at the Brighton and Hove Albion team. He was given a 3.5-year contract, which was extended to 2020 because of his great success. Chris Hughton managed to architect Brighton's move into the 2017-2018 English Premier League after a great victory at home against Wigan, which was a 2-1 victory.
I think we're going through a period, not even in Ghanaian football, but in African football, where I think the talent coming through is now, I think, greater than at any other stage. There is no doubt black and ethnic players playing in the game, not just now, but over a period of time. And the imbalance that we see at coaching and managerial level. So there's no doubt about them facts. It's no doubt something that needs to change. There, at this moment, I think is a real enthusiasm, and I think an enthusiasm from stakeholders for that to change. What we haven't seen in this period of time, even with that enthusiasm, we haven't seen that change. Where there has been, I think, fairly sort of significant changes over the last few years is the amount of black and ethnic coaches that we've seen at grassroots level, at academy level in the clubs. And there are a lot of clubs that you'll go into now, even Premier League clubs, that when you look lower down the levels, academy level, grassroots level, under 23 levels, you'll see far more black and ethnic coaches involved. But what that hasn't done, that hasn't transpired through to senior levels. So it's one, I think, a question that needs to continue to be pushed. What I'm hopeful for is that there are enough of us and are enough people that will continue to push it. But that change has to happen. Now, how that happens and whether that changes through legislation, we've seen some change certainly in the Football League, where now any applicants for particular jobs at clubs, at least one has to be from black and ethnic background, and I think that's going some way towards it, but I think it's probably about a mentality, of course, that has to change. And I'll go back to what I say, there seems to be a real enthusiasm for it to change, but of course that change has to happen sooner rather than later.
See you next week on Fuel by Faith, where we find the next African sports player or industry professional sharing their inspiring story.
Hey family, Akese Brimpong here. Listen, media is a great pillar of society. Media practitioners say that media is the fourth estate of the realm. What the media projects, society would reflect. And so you look at the prevailing culture and what's on our media and you worry about the next generation. And that's why Dominion TV is on this mission to reclaim the culture and to produce content that will help win the next generation for Christ. So we come to you to help us financially to create content that will help win the next generation for God. The numbers to reach us are on the screen. The website is on the screen. We are asking that you help Dominion TV with your pens to help us produce content that will turn the hearts of the next generation to the Father. God bless you as you do this.